Welcome to the caves of Hella on the farm of Ægissíða. There is a certain mystic surrounding the caves because no one knows who made them, when and for what purposes. But I'm going to share the story with you. On the farm there are 12 man-made caves, and in the region here in the south you will find identical 200 man-made caves, but they are largely forgotten. Farmers have used them for centuries as cowshed or barns and storages, and then the caves are, there are oral stories about the caves. Here we have one, the so-called lamp-shed cave. Sheep were kept here in the caves for centuries, and there were sheep in this cave until 1967. And there is a typical front house in this cave. What you see, here is a well, 5 meters deep, of course, to give the sheep some water. Yeah, wow. And then up here you have a chimney, a typical chimney. You will find chimney or chimneys in all the caves. This is a traditional one, and this one was made at least 100 years ago. The caves are made out of sandstone, which is very fragile, and you can see where animals have been kept and where not, because the animals basically rub the sandstone and enlarge the cave, as you can see here.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I said earlier, this cave was for centuries used for sheep, and of course where you have sheep or animals, you must have a barn. A place to keep the hay. Yeah. And let's go over there. Who will find the barn?
Oh, wow.
I follow you.
Oh, you're gonna follow
I follow you.
Oh, wow. Is it a secret?
It's a secret tunnel.
Oh.
Now we are entering the barn cave. This cave was used as a barn for the sheep shed for a long time. It was digged out in 1913, as you see written there beautifully on the wall. There are quite many remarkable carvings on the walls. This is one of the most remarkable ones. Look at this Viking-shaped head. This has a special name. It's called in English the Aarhus Viking or the mask. It draws the name from a carving on a stone in Aarhus in Denmark from the Middle Ages, from the Viking era. But again, no one knows how old this carving is. It's not modern, you can see that, but how old it is, we don't know. Yet another mystic about the caves. And then there are of course some modern carvings. Hansa visited us in '66.
Yeah,
Hansa, yeah.
Limited.
Yeah.
Wow. So people have been...
And on this side of the wall, there are nice things as well. Unfortunately, people in the past or recently have been writing their names on the walls, like this Dagur 2010. Let's hope this is not the mayor of Reykjavík. Who names his Dagur? Let's hope it's not him. I don't think so. And Facebook tells us that it found the smiley face first. No, Facebook was not the first one to discover to create the smiley face. It is found here in the caves.
Wow. This is so amazing.
And then you find lots of different carvings here. Not in our alphabet. Look at these here. You look from the side. And look at this. And there are ruins, old Viking ruins over there. And I'm told this is the name Salka.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. In the old,
this is the old ruins. Yeah, old Nordic ruins. Yeah, yes, it is, yes. But again, we don't know how old it is or where it comes from. Many things.
Wow. So So like this 1 hour tour that we do for people, is it like many different caves?
No, we do four caves, but we make as much out of the story as we do with the caves, you know. It's as much about the story or the stories. In the mid last century, I think that all these 200 man-made caves here in the south were in full use. Farmers were still using them. And on this farm, all the 12 caves were in use in 1963. That said, there is only now one cave that is in use, where my father keeps his potatoes and jam. And he thinks that that is, of course, the most remarkable cave. It has nothing to do with the cave, it has to do with his potatoes and jam and his saft. But the strange thing is, we can still look at the potatoes and the jam, but the saft always finishes quite early in the autumn. Why that is, that's a mystique as well.
Lives here.
My father lives there. I grew up here.
Really?
Yes, I grew up there.
So you knew this area from you were like child?
All the time I was walking around here with my grandfather. These caves were a popular tourist destination until 1982, or as long as my grandfather kept them intact, because you always have to repair the front houses and the chimneys. And when I was growing up here in the 70s, I was always showing Icelanders and tourists from abroad the caves. And it just what I'm telling you now is just the story that my grandfather told me in the 70s. But the precious potatoes of my father, not to mention his jam. This is my father. This is a family-run project. Our main concern is, of course, just to preserve the caves and make them open to the public and share this oral history with our guests. Gjörðu svo vel og eftir ykkur, gjörðu svo vel. This is the so-called cow shed cave. That said, cows were never kept here. However, for centuries this was used as a barn for the cow shed above. There must have been something here before, because there are quite many shelves for candles or lights, and I can convince you that the farmers were not lighting up the barn. And there are quite many remarkable things here. This end of the cave, up these stairs, on the stage, though this does not have the name stage, this has the name chapel. And when my great-grandfather built his house here on this farm in 1885, he claimed that this place was called the chapel. And if you go further in, towards the end of the chapel, please welcome, you will see why. Because here at the end is a remarkable cross. There's a remarkable cross, and you will not find a cross like this anywhere else on the island. Look at this cross there, with this Jesus kind of figure on the cross. And there are.
So would you say that this chapel is the chapel for the hidden people, or the chapel for the former farms?
So we have like this name, the chapel.
Yeah.
There is the other cave which has the name the church, an ancient name.
Uh-huh.
You have the cross,
Yeah.
and there are more crosses here.
Yeah, I can see more there.
Over there. So these are hints that Christian people might have lived here before the Nordic pagans arrived on the island, and the Irish were Christian long before the Scandinavians. And this is a hint that they might have been living here. And then you have this wall here, basically the area from the cross, and this entire wall is covered in graffiti.
Yeah.
Graffiti, some is modern. Unfortunately, visitors have been carving the names on it. However, there are remarkable drawings and carvings on this wall, which no one has been able to read, though some people claim they have found some Celtic Irish names or letters on the wall. Yet another sign that some Irish people might have lived here and made these caves. Bless. Takk fyrir komuna.